Hey guys, Austin Bach doing a cube draft on MTGO. Couple of pretty cool cards here. There's a Mox Emerald if we wanted to do some kind of green ramp, which is always a fine option when there's so many good creatures to ramp into in this format. On that note, there's also a Sneak Attack, however, which I think I might want to take instead. Not sure what's going to come back out of this, but I feel like there's going to be something kind of cool because there's a lot of obviously, all these packs are going to be deep, but I don't know. I feel like Sneak Attack is a very powerful card. Because you can go ramp, but you're always subject to bad draws. But Sneak Attack in your hand is always going to be good if you have any creatures in your deck. So yeah, it's a very powerful card. So obviously we can't just rely on Sneak Attack. We can't just cram a bunch of expensive creatures in our deck and call it a day. We're going to have to find some kind of ramp also to give us a little more consistency. Here's an Angel of Despair, which is one of those really good Sneak Attack targets. There's also Momentary Blink, which is another good Angel of Serenity or Angel of Despair target. There's also a Show and Tell, however, which I think is going to be the pick because that's going to be an additional sneak attack ability, more or less. Just try to sneak big guys into play. Seems like a good thing we want to do. So yeah, we'll go with that. Yep, not the ideal way to start a draft. With two ways to get big guys into play and then nothing to put into play, but I think we'll be okay. There's a Trinket Mage if we got any like Moxes or Mana Crypts or Black Lotus, anything like that. But there's also a Control Magic, which I think I'm going to take here. Just try to monopolize the big creatures, play some kind of control deck. Is always an option. Yeah, I'll take that over next best card in here. Possibly Dark Confidant, but this is a pretty unexciting pack. There's a Channel. If we want to get Fireball, we could get the famously named combo. But yeah, Control Magic is just very strong. It's a little overpowered, just slightly. Mind Control for only 4, and Threads of Disloyalty for 1 more, but you can get anything. Seems pretty strong. Okay, now we start to get the good stuff. We can keep going Control with like Inquisition of Kozilek to protect ourselves against the aggro decks. There's an Electrolyze, which is in our colors, but I think I'm going to take the Elishnorn here and either splash it or just try to get a bunch of stuff to sneak it into play, because Elishnorn is one of the best creatures to either reanimate or show and tell, etc. And it's even possible that Electrolyze will come back out of this, because most people see it as kind of an unexciting option, but it's going to be the kind of thing that our deck wants, but Elishnorn is more or less going to be more what we want. What do I cost here? So if we're in some kind of American control deck, yeah, if we're in control, we're not going to be playing Reckless Charge. What does Exalted Angel do? When it deals damage, I gain that much life. So it's lifelink basically with a little bit more upside, because you have like, I don't know. Anyway, I think I'm going to take the Wooded Foothills here. Try to pick up some dual lands to splash a color. There's also a Brain Freeze with Storm, which I don't think we're going to be doing in this game, or in this deck. So yeah, I'll just take the fixing. And you never know, Storm could come back as the 15th card, but it's unlikely. People always try to force Storm, but it very rarely works. I've seen someone come close with like Palinkron, Dark Ritual, Tendrils, and all that stuff, even Brain Freeze, but they couldn't quite get it done, because it's very hard to Storm off of a bunch of one-ofs. Oh, there's a Gifts Ungiven. That seems pretty sweet. We're going to have to get quite a bit of reanimate targets if we're going to do this. Like, we're going to need to snap up the first Unburial rates we see, basically. But yeah, it's not like that big of a deal that we take this over anything else, but I think Gifts Ungiven is something we can build around reasonably easily in this pool. Baleful Strix, Nicol Bolas, Simic Growth Chamber is probably the pick, though, in case we want to go green. Actually, I might just go into the Royal. Yeah, it's probably the safer pick. If we're going to be in control, we gotta have some way to defend ourselves in the early game. There's a Lightning Bolt, and a Simic Sky Swallower, which is a good finisher. But I feel like we're going to find plenty of good finishers, so I don't know here. I might not even play Sneak Attack. I could just go straight blue, white. I don't know. It's a tough one. I'll take the Lightning Bolt just to, because I don't like losing to mono red. Okay, what do we have? We have Chroma's Vengeance, which seems fine if we're in control, as long as we can survive up to the early turns. There's also a Pristine Talisman, which is pretty good, but I'd rather have the board wipe, I think, if we're in blue-white control. There's a Momentary Blank. If we ended up getting like Angel Despair, which was taken out of this pack already, unfortunately. But I'll go ahead and take it here just in case something sweet comes around. That's not the dual land we're looking for. I guess I can take Thawing Glaciers. It's kind of like fixing plus land thinning. I don't really want to play Smokestack. Alright, so Mana Tithe, which is not too bad. I might just take the Temple Garden here, because I can fetch it with my fetch land already. And this lets us splash green if we get something cool. Yeah, this makes them discard. It's not super exciting, so I'll take this so I can read it. Alright, that adds mana. It's okay. I'll take this to hate on artifacts. Alright, so we have a little bit of a kind of a cheaty face control deck going on. Let's see if it continues. First thing I see is Karn, which is pretty nice. Guy's Cradle obviously is not the pick for us. Is it Charm for control, obviously in the early game, but Fire Ice would obviously be better than Is it Charm. It's like almost strictly better, not quite though. I could see myself playing Is It Charm if I wanted to splash black for some Reanimator, if I end up playing the Gifts Ungiven. It's also a Windswept Heath, which gets for green or white, I believe. Yeah. So it does also get our Temple Garden, even though we're not even sure we're in green yet. Force Spike, that's pretty much the same thing as Mana Tithe, but in blue. Not quite sure here. Could also be Restoration Angel, except that we still don't have many creatures to blink. As in, we don't have any creatures to blink except Delishnorn. So, I'm leaning towards Fire Ice. Just go like red-blue control. Try to pick up some planeswalkers in here, like Chandra and Jace and all that. Oh well, if we're in red-blue control, Niv Mizzet seems like a pretty good finisher. And then there's a Storm card, Mind's Desire, that I don't think I'm going to play. There's also an Old Man in the Sea. Let's see. Gain control of... Yeah, that's okay. There's also a land that'll probably come back out of this. But I think I'm going to take the Niv Mizzet and try to go into red and blue and possibly white control. I could go without a board wipe if we have like Fire Ice and Lightning Bolt and some other early control, like Mana Leak. See if there's a Tinker, which I guess it's not too late to build around if we get like a Blightsteel Colossus and some Moxes. Yeah, I feel like our deck is still lacking direction, and this could be the final push it needs. Also a Scalding Tarn, and a Bloodstained Mire, and a Mana Leak, and I'm fairly confident one of the three of these will come back. So I'll take Tinker and take any Mox I see, basically. Here's Chandra. Also Chrome Mox, unfortunately. Take exile a non-artifact, non-land card. Yeah, so that's pretty good. I think this could come back, but Chandra is going to be pretty important for our strategy, because we need a couple finishers, and I'm not even sure about this Tinker, because we're going to have to see like a Blightsteel if we're going to even consider taking small artifacts over cards that we know we need. Willbender changes the target. It doesn't have flash, but it does have morph, which is helpful. I guess I could play that. There's also an Entomb, but I'm thinking that the Gifts Ungiven might not be played right now. So I think I just take the Willbender as kind of like a control magic of sorts, even though it's going to take till like turn 4 to do anything. There's a splash of green, a card to splash green 4, a Fire Blast that I don't want to play against. What does Wake Thrasher do? No permanent I control becomes untapped. It's +1/+1 till end of turn. I think that, I don't know, but it seems like that should count for when I untap all my lands on my upkeep, but I'm not sure. Either way, I think I'm going to take the Fire Blast just because I don't want to play against it, and I might end up playing it as a finisher, depending on how deep into red we are. Here's an Arc Trail, and Azorius Chancellery, which is probably going to be the pick, just to better splash our color of white, even though I'm not sure if we're in it yet. Honestly, though, I think Arc Trail is going to be the better pick. Still not even sure we're going to be in white, and Arc Trail is a card we definitely want if we're in red-blue control. Yeah, for now our only finishers are Chandra, Niv Mizzet, and possibly Cheaty Face on Elish Norn if we play Show and Tell. But I'm not even sure, like, Show and Tell, Tinker, Gifts Ungiven don't really all belong in the same deck, and I don't think any of them really belong in this deck, which is kind of unfortunate. And Show and Tell was made before Planeswalkers were even a thing, so we can't even put Chandra into play. So yeah, there's a little bit of inconsistency right now in this deck, but we'll have to see what happens. So this lets me bounce lands to make 1/1s. That's pretty strong. Memory Lapse, that's counter plus Time Walk is pretty good. Probably going to be Mana War here. And then if we get some more of these kind of effects, I might end up playing Momentary Blink, but it's looking more and more unlikely as we pass all these good white cards and continue getting good blue and red cards. Alright, Izzet Charm came back. I'll take it over Force Spike and Fire Me an Angel pretty easily here. So yeah, we've more or less solidified ourselves into red-blue, even though we don't really have a set game plan going yet. We're going to need a couple more finishers, or ways to break Tinker or Gifts Ungiven, even though it's looking more unlikely as we go along. The Wooded Foothills, I can currently only fetch a mountain, so I'm hoping to get like Steam Vents or Volcanic Island, that kind of thing. Visit Boiler Works works, I guess. Winter Orb is certainly not going to be played in our deck. Yep, pretty clearly the pick to fix our mana. Temple Garden probably won't see play unless we end up playing white and splashing green, which isn't going to happen pretty much. Tangle Wire, which is, I guess, decent for what's it, Tinker, and it's also good against aggro. If they're only playing a couple lands, then you're only gonna be able to untap. Yeah, I mean, it's a good card. We'll see if it sees play or not. Okay, there's a Yavimaya Coast, which I guess I'll take, or a Sphinx of Jor Isle, or a Sphinx of the Steel Wind, rather. This would require us to splash black, unless we were going to go all in on the Show and Tell sneak attack plan. Yeah, I'll take it, see what happens. Not going to take Overgrown Tomb. Don't want to play against Blunt Hoof Boar. Or Gate Creeper. Let someone have the fixing. Alright, what does this do? This deals damage when it attacks the player. Alright, so we're in decent shape, so hopefully we get some more options.